So, thanks for joining us here. I'm going to do kind of what some of the other panel discussions have done early in the day, and I can self-introduce. We have here Kiani Barnes. You are the owner of and jewelry designer of Kiani Jewelry. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have Chef Lee Anderson, the executive chef at Sugar Beach Events. Now, before we do the introduction, before you do introduce, I want everybody to get out their phones. I know we're all like, let's not be rude and get out our phones, but I think it's really important for businesses to support one another, as we're all doing here today. We're learning from one another, and one thing that we can all do as businesses is follow one another on social media. So get out your phones, log into your Facebook or your Twitter or your Instagram, whatever your weapon of choice is. And as you introduce, if you wouldn't mind also letting us know what your handles are, so that everybody else here in the room can follow your business, because these two panelists here are leading examples, in my opinion, on what you can really do on social media and really leverage social media, and have been very successful. So thanks for joining us. We'll start with you.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Kiani. My Instagram handle is @KianiJewelry. A lot of people spell jewelry wrong. It's Jewelry. It's kind of hilarious. But yeah, I am a Big Island-born, Maui-raised local girl who literally kind of stumbled into growing a business at the age of 31 as a stay-at-home mom, with a hobby job, and learning and fumbling along the way, but really being willing to work hard, hustle, and then eventually create unique Hawaii-inspired designs. I like to say that they're understated Hawaii designs. They have a layer and a flavor of Hawaii, but they also are classic and classy enough for our visiting community to wear anywhere in the world. Started as an online store, eventually went through my little struggle of embracing social media. I finally did, and it really made quite the difference. And now I went from clicks to bricks, as we say. A year ago, I opened up my own boutique in Makawao, upcountry, close to home. And then after evaluating sales and successes there, I felt I should start assessing the value of opening a second store. And I'm opening that in 29 days in Whalers Village. And really excited about the growth that I've been able to experience. Definitely humbled by the process, the work, but I think I kind of offer that perspective of, maybe you didn't plan on this, maybe you didn't have, social media in your business plan, but how important it can really take you when you embrace it.
Thank you so much, Kiani. And Lee?
Hi, I'm Chef Lee with Sugar Beach Events. I own a wedding and event venue in North Kihei. We've been open almost 5 years now. I specialize mostly in weddings and private events. We do, however, do some public events. If you're familiar, we do movie nights that are open to the public. We just did one recently where a lot of the funds benefit different local charities. We'll be doing some more, hopefully later on this summer. We're in full wedding season right now, so we're pretty busy with a lot of weddings. But we do have a lot of public events. We do cooking classes, a lot of fundraisers coming up in August and September, so please be on the lookout. We'd love to have you come out for those. My Instagram is at Sugar Beach Events. Please like my Facebook page. You can push me over 6,000 likes.
Woohoo!
I've been very close, so I'm like 99, 94, or I don't know, something around there. I quit looking because I just got, 6,000. So help me out, people. Yeah, I've been on island 14 years. I started a catering company called Aloha Events years ago. I sold that when I started Sugar Beach Events. We built Sugar Beach Events from ground up and have been going strong ever since. We have had about 20% growth every year, expecting about 15% this year, so we slowed down a little bit. And we're expecting about 20% again next year. due to some staffing changes and, again, a big social media push.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Things are going good.
Okay, well, I have a good question for you to start with, okay? And maybe, Lee, we can start with you since you've got the mic here. The question is what point did you know that social media was going to be an important part of your business, and what do you get out of it?
I knew social media was going to be important before I opened my doors. Luckily for me, it took us 8.5 years to get the permits to actually build the building, if you haven't been to Sugar Beach events. So it took a long time to get the building open. So I actually started booking events there before the building was even up. So social media was the only way that I actually got people out and showed them the space before it was ever available. I had mock-up drawings and put those on a Facebook page. And I actually booked weddings, and the building didn't even exist yet. So that's how important social media was to me. Everything I do is word of mouth, or it's internet-based. So my advertising is on the internet, or it's word of mouth with different planners on the island, or different professionals and creative partners that I work with.
Same question for you, Kiani.
Yeah, so it's when did we embrace social media?
Yeah, what point did you know that social media was going to be an important part of your business? And
Right.
then what do you get out of it?
Okay, yeah. So unlike her, again, I didn't have like a business plan to grow something necessarily, but I learned in the process that I love to grow something. I love creating a brand. I love creating something unique. And so I had more of a rebellious attitude towards social media for a while, where it was 7 years ago, and Facebook was starting to make you pay for people to even see your posts as a business. And I remember being really irritated with that, like, after all this, you get people to like you and Facebook, whatnot, and then you still have to pay for them to see anything. And again, as just a budgeted stay-at-home mom, I just didn't like having to pay for that. And so I kind of took a break, had, like I said, again, I was having a little pity party to myself. And finally, as I was deciding if I could really, really grow a brand, because you kind of have to hit a point within yourself if it's really worth all that work and all that hustle and all that budget, and how much money do you leave in your business bank account? You know, like that's like a very real question that was coming for me. And how many I started designing my first mermaid scale line, and how many bracelets do I buy and believe I can sell? You know, like all of those things are really big, critical questions that I had to go through. And when I finally committed to spending more of that business bank account money and buying more bracelets and believing I could sell them, that's when I had to embrace Instagram, and I had to get over myself, and I made a business plan to really think about how many people I could reach and acquire as followers. I looked at heavy hitters in the Instagram world, and I went, okay, like they have 6,000 followers. My goal is to hit 3,000 in 1 year. And I just started thinking creatively about how I was going to go about that, from, you know, DMing ambassadors, people who I liked. Sometimes it's not even like an ambassador or whatnot, just people that that you admire, that are in your sort of style and your space. And so I reached out to Lindy Irons, who was the co-owner of Acacia at the time. And you know, she had a ton of followers, and it was, you know, seemed out of reach. But I put myself out there, and I got yeses back, you know, and social media allows you to connect with people that you would never have access to. And at the same time, you have to be really honest about your product. If you're not getting yeses back, then maybe you have to rethink your product. You know, I had to be willing to put my ring out there. You know, it's a photograph of my first ring, and it was like, but it was a bad A picture. It was a great picture. It's got to be a really good picture. And when people started saying yes back, that validated my business and my product also. And so you have to always listen through social media. It's not just what you're saying, it's about listening. And when you're really focused on letting get over how it might hurt, really think about the feedback you're getting from social media and adjust. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the customer validating the growth of your business.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you bring up a couple really good points. One is Facebook's pay-to-play model, right? I think we're all kind of a little frustrated. We've had our own little come to Jesus moments with that, and had varying solutions for the Facebook's pay-to-play model. It's just the reality of it. So, how do you overcome that model? And how do you overcome the competition? Because at that point in the game, it's about your competition. You're really in competition with other people on Facebook and cat pictures and baby pictures and, not just your literally business competition, but how do you feel that you've overcome that? Lee?
Okay, so one thing that I have learned very early on is that I surround myself with people who are a lot smarter than me. So I have a great company who really helps me out. Design Pod helps me out with my social media platform. So they do a lot of the work for me because I run a business and I'm a numbers person. So if you are wondering, to me, the whole idea of what's a small business? What's a small business to me might be very different than what's a small business to you. I run a small business. I am a single owner. I'm the executive chef. I wear a lot of different hats. I manage a lot of different people. I did $2.4 million last year in my business. Monthly, it costs me $100,000 to $150,000 a month to just run my business. So that's a lot of weddings to put on, let me tell you, and that's a lot of bridezillas that I have to deal with. So having smart people help me out is very important to me. When it comes to really putting content out there and kind of affecting my platform, one thing I learned is I'm selling myself as much as I'm selling my business. So I may put 5 food pictures out there. You are all like dead with food pictures, right? Your friends do food pictures all the time where you get tired of it. Well, that's my job. My job is to put food pictures out there. My clients want to see food pictures. So I put 5 food pictures out there, and then I put a picture of something about me and my life as Chef Lee. I have 4 dogs and a blind cat. Of course, everybody loves those animal pictures, so I'll put an animal picture out, or me pretending like I'm doing something fun, even though I'm working, and I take a second and walk outside and look like I'm on the beach. But people love that because I'm selling me as much as the business. So when I get opportunities to do something fun, I swear I'm making a point here. It just takes me a minute to get there. I do something fun, and that's what I post. I had a great opportunity to do a really intimate dinner, and Steven Tyler was there and played one of his major hit songs on piano, and I did a video of it. And I posted that on my Sugar Beach Events Facebook page. And then I bumped it up and paid $20 for the boost. I had 60,000 hits on that Steven Tyler video. I went viral. That was my first viral ever. And it was so wonderful because I got 100 likes on my page because of that. Because of one little video that Lee, not Chef Lee, but Lee went to this great event and just put a video together. Mm-hmm. So anytime I do something fun that I think other people out there are going to enjoy, I put it on my work Facebook page and then I'll boost it. And that always gets me something special, and that's what you need to think about. So as you're doing something fun that you might take for granted here on Maui, other people are not taking it for granted on the mainland or in Wisconsin or Montana or wherever they may be, who are jealous of the sun and the rainbow that you're driving by.
So then it sounds like you do utilize Facebook advertising to kind of counterbalance some of that pay-to-play model, right?
Correct. So it goes back to the pay-to-play.
Yeah.
I don't do it often,
Yeah.
but when I do it, I make sure that it's worthwhile and it's something that's going to go viral.
And you know it's going to kind of give it. And Kiani, do you use Facebook advertising at all?
Yeah, so not a ton. It's something I want to do more of. I think, again, depending on your budget and depending on where you're at, you can, right now, so she pays to have her help with social media. I don't. I would like to. I'm getting there. But the point, yeah, worksheet. But I think the point is that it's good, for me, I wanted to earn every step in my business growth. So for me, I didn't come in with this amount of money to then divide into all these things, and I was going to automatically put $2,000 a month towards social media. I felt like I had to constantly earn that place, and my jewelry had to earn it. My designs had to earn it. I had to sell my way into every role and every job that I now provide to up to 10 to 15 employees now. That's scary stuff, that's mouths I gotta feed. That's people that I'm now taking care of. And so I'm still, now that I'm moving into this new space, I do see projected sales being $1.2 million a year. And that, I will have budget to start, hiring out different things. But I had to graduate to that point. It's like I had to sell, that amount of jewelry and get enough feedback from locals, tourists, online sales, all those things are your grades, the way you grade yourself. And so I now look forward, I'm trying to get rid of all my hats, like she was talking about. I'm still wearing, I started off wearing like 18 hats, and I'm still wearing at least 8, And so the part of the reason why I don't give up my social media control right now is because it's so important to me artistically to still control my social media. Yeah. So I'm the photographer. I have, my 24 megapixel camera from Costco, but it takes dang good pictures. And it's so important to me to express the way I see the jewelry. So when I shoot it, it's like I'm still expressing myself through that. And it's artistry for me too. And it does save me money, except it does take my time.
It does
Going
take a lot
right
of your time.
back to what she said, it takes a lot of time. So at some point I will, be able to assess the value of giving more away. But yeah, I do intend to spend more in social media advertising, but right now I'm nurturing, the direct visitor walk-in traffic that Whalers has. I go and I counted 80 people walking by my space in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Things
and,
like that.
And you bring up a really good point too, I think, with making sure that you kind of have control of that creative vision and the representation of your business. So, which if you have a chance to go check out both of their feeds, the one thing that really I think stands out with both of these is the quality of images. I feel is really what stands out, and you can really tell the difference that you really put a lot of heart and intent in what kind of images you're putting out there, and the angle and the shot, and it doesn't even have to be, I know that you use some professional photography and you shoot them yourself, so there has to be a certain level of talent. But so how important is that, having high quality images? I mean, do you feel that maybe your majority of your efforts go towards creating higher quality images versus things like ads? Or
For us, it's very important because brides are looking for the high quality. They want, our motto is when we do a social media post, it's elegant, it's soft. So that's what we're looking for. And when you are having somebody who is assisting you with social media, you have to find the right fit. So you have to find somebody who works with you. I did it all in the beginning. It really wasn't pretty. So that's why I had somebody who came on board with me. And it was somebody who I meshed with artistically. He gets my vision. So the soft, the elegant, that's the approach we do from a professional side of it. Now, when it comes to me, I do tastings with clients. On my Facebook page, I post a lot of images that I'll take from the kitchen. And I'll tell my clients when I'm doing tastings, if you want to see what my food looks like when it comes right out of the kitchen, look at my Facebook page, because that's where I post photos. There's nothing professional about them. They're just things that I snap with my iPhone as they're coming out, true life from an event. There's nothing filtered, there's nothing professional. It's just me. So that way they get a true life experience of what they're going to have on their day. And that is what is important for me, because a client sees the true image of what's happening. But from a professional standpoint, we do have guidelines as far as the soft and elegant. So that's what's going to come out. They're usually pretty pastel-y, because that's what flowers are with weddings for the most part, pastel-y.
Mm-hmm. And Kiani, how do you maintain that kind of consistency in your look and feel and brand voice? What's your approach in that?
So yeah, this is something that's challenging for me because quality photos are really, really important, especially with jewelry. I think it's so important to see the detail and to see the shine and the high resolution photos. However, kind of like we're talking about, you should also have, your Insta stories that are taken with your cell phone. And so sometimes I'm a little insecure also to go post on Insta stories. Again, because I learned over time that my story mattered. When we're talking about Insta story, also like customers would be like, so where did you go to design school for this? And how long have you been designing? And I was like, I didn't go to design school for this, like, oh, really? And I learned over time that people were so enamored with my story and learning more about me. And so in my store, my retail store, we sell or share my story. But when it comes to social media, sometimes I'm a little shy with that because, it's like bringing the whole world into your home, and shooting. I also don't know if I really want to see what you're eating for dinner, or it gets more complicated to me to think of quality content. So I'm always vacillating between, I'm not as good at Insta Story as I should be, but again, I'm learning that boundary or like how much do I matter, in my business story? Because I know I matter in my retail brick and mortar, because I'm also right there. I'm looking at people in the eye. Mm-hmm. But how much to sell that also in my social media is just a fine line, because I do see businesses that litter it with their kids and their dogs, and it's like the opposite ratio of hers. It's 5 pictures of their personal life and then like a picture of jewelry, or it's 5 regrammed pictures from other photographers and travel blogs, and then a picture of their product, and I try to keep my product at the forefront of what I post. And then one other thing is, it used to take me like 2 hours to put a post on Instagram. That's maybe a little embarrassing, but I'll just say it. It used to take me.
It shows. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, for both of you, it's really beautiful. So yes.
And it's so easy to overthink things and really like, and now I just get it done, and I've learned, but it takes time. Like I don't think you can just jump right into like get it done. I think you have to feel that out. You have to have a relationship with social media and what it does to you, because it challenges you. It takes so much courage to be business people, to say, this is what I'm selling, and this is the way I'm selling it, or this is what I designed, and I hope you like it. You're inviting people to not like it. That's hard. That's humbling. And that's why it'll take you 2 hours to post, And so instead, I had to go through that humble process. And now, 7 years later, okay, that picture didn't get that many likes. I don't care. It looks good on my feed. It's a good picture, and it helps create this overall picture of who I am and what my brand is. So, yeah.
I think you bring up a good point with the relationship, which we'll kind of pivot into a little bit different. So, which is what happens after you post. What about the community management piece, right? We all post something, and then what happens after, right? Both of you have very active social media profiles, and you do get quite a bit of comments, and I would imagine direct messages and reviews and things like that. How do you go about that? Do you dedicate daily time? How do you also deal with negative feedback? Sorry, there's 3 questions in one.
Well, I can tell you the content is important that you post, but the engagement is as important, if not more important, when you're a small business. So when you're engaging with people in Instagram, for example, you need to be commenting on other people's posts. You need to get those followers. That's the only way you're going to move forward with social media. That is probably one big takeaway I can give you. Don't just be involved in your own post. You need to get out there and engage with everybody else. So everybody in here, you should be dropping business cards with your neighbors and start connecting with each other and start commenting. Don't just like. You need to comment on posts and do more than just like. We're all the community here. That's where you start making strides in your social media. And as far as negative comments or negativity, I'm a very straightforward person. If somebody has an issue, I can't say that I've had any negative comments. I had one person who commented on food and said, I don't know if I'd like that. And I was like, I'm really sorry to hear that. There's not really much you can say to somebody. But you just have to kind of go straight at it. I don't kind of gloss around anything. I just head at things straightforward. And I think that's the only way you can be. When you make mistakes, you own up to mistakes. When there are negative comments out there, you just have to go at them. If there are things that are not true, then you just kind of positively address them without saying anything negative about the person, and you positively address it, and then you move on from it. I am not into the going back and forth with people. That will not suit you or your business well. So I would definitely steer very clear of getting into any kind of tit-for-tat situation with people. Just make your comment and move on from it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Kiani, how about you?
Yeah, so I think it's kind of an issue of really knowing who you are, because when you put yourself out there, again, you're opening yourself up to criticism. I have generally raving fans, and I haven't had any negative comments. The only negative comment-ish that I recall getting is somebody DM'd me a picture of a piece that they liked. And one side note is, like, people will always be like, oh, how much is this? And it always makes me laugh, because it's like, my website's on my profile, like and how much is this? You know, and until Instagram finally allowed you to tag the product, I'm like, thank you. But yes. I would always say, oh, you can find it on our website. I would always redirect them to my website instead of, I'm not trying to sell off of Instagram or put my numbers on Instagram. Like, I would rather direct you to my website, you know? But somebody DM'd me and was like, why so expensive? You know? And and so that's where I go back to. It's about your identity and your security in yourself. You have to know what you are and what you aren't. You have to know what you sell and what you don't sell. And I grew up here, like, straight up borderline poor. I did not have any money. I couldn't afford that which I'm selling right now. And I had to confront that I'm not trying to be the cheapest brand. I had to get through all of my own, I grew up this way, that's okay. You know, like, because at the same time, somebody like myself would definitely come and buy my jewelry for my anniversary or my birthday. Like, I would be that special occasion type buy. And so just knowing the cost of doing business, which this person who DM'd me has no idea, I didn't reply. You know, it wasn't even worth engaging. It was like a very, haphazard comment from them anyway. I don't think they really expected an answer. And so, I think, again, it's just challenging. There are people that have started to copy my mermaid scales and hand making these designs that I tried to make, so that casting them so that people couldn't knock them off. And, I have not confronted them in part because of social media, because that can start a whole war of, well, I can, you can't tell me I can't, blah, 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 blah. So it's like a living, breathing enterprise.
Absolutely.
You're inviting all this feedback, and negative feedback will happen, but it goes back to, really just stepping back and being secure in who you are and what you sell and all of that.
Absolutely. Okay, I know we're running a little short on time, but we'll do one last quick question. And that is, what is the one biggest lesson that you've learned that you were surprised to learn along the way in your social media journey? The one lesson.
One lesson. I guess I would say, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier, that I'm selling me as much as I'm selling the business. And I guess part of me, I'm kind of ignorant to the comments that you were saying, Keone, about being nervous about putting yourself out there. I totally wasn't nervous about putting myself out there. I guess I'm just crazy that way. It was like me or not. But yes, selling you is what sells your business. When I do tastings, sitting with my clients, they get to know me, and I show them why I do what I do. They understand me as a person, as a chef, and my passion for what I do goes through, and that's what they love. And I didn't realize how important that was. So being with a client, and whether it's through social media or email, or I actually get to meet them in person. For me, a lot of times I don't get to meet clients in person. So that social media touch is really important. Those postings of my dog, the postings of the 5 food, or of us in the kitchen, whatever it may be, that is so important for me, because that's how I'm getting my clients. They're getting to know me through my social media. And without that, it's just another business, just like anybody else's. So you're trying to set yourself apart from your competition. How do you do that? That's the question you need to ask yourself, and that's what I learned, is that you're selling you. So sell the best you can.
Mm-hmm. Great advice. Keone?
Amen. That was good. Sorry, I was just rehearsing what I was going to say, and then it floated away. Okay, so I think social media is so important to street cred. I would just say, for all the visitors that I have that come in and we tell them about our brand or our story, what I get to back it up with is that we started off as an online store. And we started off, social media is kind of like an online store, where it's validating that you have a good product, And so I had the ability to test the market before having a retail store on whether or not I could sell online, when no one's even touching the product. And so when I sell to visitors, I'm able to tell them, have them check us out on Instagram. And when they go and they see that we have almost 9,000 followers, then, people are like, oh, okay. It totally changes things to have a product and a brand that took the time to be legit in that world, And then, because of social media, I have people that come in that already know the brand, they already have 5 things, and they're ready to add to it, and they're obsessed. And it's so nice that I didn't have to, sell to them as a regular customer. And I think that so many retail stores are closing because they didn't learn how to nurture social media and online first. And you need that. You need to have a voice, because in this day and age, everybody's taking that time to have a voice. And you could be in business for 40 years, but if you don't change, if you don't modify, if you don't get on board with what's happening right now, so many people are closing their doors. And you want to be, I'm going from clicks to bricks, and I'm so thankful for that, but I think that social media is critical to stay open or to grow. We don't want to be stagnant in business. We always want to be growing and thriving.
Thank you.
Here I'm trying to get 6,000 likes, and
There
she's
we
got
go.
9,000.
Oh, It's harder on Facebook. It's much harder on Facebook, I will admit. How many followers do you have on Instagram?
A lot.
Yes, my point exactly. So I think we have time for maybe one question from the audience. Does anybody have a question for panelists? Yes.
I'm wondering about how important you think consistency is, like posting every single day, and how that affects your followers.
That's a good question. So the question was, how important is consistency, posting every day or a consistent amount of time per week?
Absolutely. Consistency is very important. We use Planoly, I believe, so that
Like that one?
we do schedule our posts. I think we have 5 a day that go up.
A day or a week?
A week. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Yeah, five a week that go up.
Okay.
Go up.
And Keone?
I try to commit myself to posting every day. Again, it used to take me so much more time, and so, but then now I'm running the retail store, so it's harder for me to do it. But I think it is important, and part of the way I got that feedback. It's funny because my husband is like not a big social media guy at all, and if I post twice a day, he's like, don't post so much, and I'm just like, and you post never, like, so never mind. But I found out from having a retail store how many people didn't know I had one, and I felt like I was like saying it all the time and like posting every single day, come check out our store, come check out our store. And then people would come in and be like, oh, I follow you on Instagram. I didn't know you opened a store. And I'm like, okay, that's good to know. I guess I need to post some more about my store, because I can tend to think that, you're annoying people's feeds if they're seeing your posts all the time. But I've learned that I'm wrong about that. So at least once a day I think is good. But, I'm also a mom of 2 kids and I have so much going on. If I miss a day or whatever, that's okay, but if you don't, put that time in now before you do have kids.
Exactly. Well, thank you all so much. That's time. I appreciate you being here and giving everybody such wonderful advice. Here's the panelists.